fix to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day.
The goods from the wood.
Hot damn.
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
Pat Riley.
Mr. Good Night Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
And we're here having the weirdest afternoon cocktails of all time with our friend
Devin Blake.
Pat, what is this rot gut concoction that you have here? I actually tried it. It's actually not that bad.
It's not bad. So if anybody is looking to lose a few pounds, but you still want to drink, I just invented something. It's a Pamplemousse LaCroix, a shot of Cuervo.
That's grapefruit if you're not an asshole.
Yeah. A shot of Cuervo, which is tequila,
Yep.
if you're not smart, and lime juice. I'll call it an East Williamsburg summer.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Steely Dan song.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is pretty good. I tried this.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Lime it. It tastes kind of like
probably
an old-fashioned kind of cocktail. Almost
65,
like a Cuddy and water or something like that. Almost has a Cuddy sock kind of taste with a little bit of lime or something like that.
65 calories. I'm not doing it to be weight conscious. I was just like, it's
Just works out that way.
it's a Monday. It's beautiful out. It's an afternoon. Might as well enjoy East Williamsburg summer. Is that what it's called? But I used to know somebody in college that she did the research as to what the lowest calorie alcoholic drink was, and she used to drink vodka and Diet Barks root beer.
Oh, gross.
And it was just like
God, those don't even...
How many calories was that?
so few that you would actually withstand drinking that.
that doesn't even sort of
Did
make
she lose
sense.
weight?
Yeah, she drank it for years.
Got fucked up. I feel like the subtext of that story is that she's an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah, we...
That's not even the fun way to be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
we at
The
one
low-cal way. you know.
We at one point mixed Walmart root beer with Southern Comfort, and we deserved a Nobel Prize for that invention because that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that doesn't sound bad.
Vodka, on the other hand, with because of course Southern Comfort and root beer is just sugar. Like, you might as well just be mainlining a bunch of sugar. So of course it tasted really good, but vodka is awful.
The first time I got really drunk in high school, I didn't know what a margarita was, but I thought that I discovered how it was made when I had tequila and Mountain Dew. I was like, yeah, that's the color. So it must be what a margarita is. It was
first time I got
hideous.
The first time I got drunk was off of margaritas.
Really?
I barely ever drink them.
The first time I got drunk was off of margaritas, but it wasn't just Mexican restaurant margaritas.
Was it the club?
No, it was the would-be competitor to Mike, Rick's Spiked Margarita. It was in a clear glass bottle, and it was this green malt liquor. I drank like 6 of those and vomited over a waterfall.
Yeah, I'm uncircumcised. I'll probably be saying
Welcome
that
to the show.
I'll probably be saying that a lot throughout the podcast.
Hold on now. This isn't about like dicks or something.
And
I want to be edited out of the dick episode.
and said to my friends, "Hey, do you guys want to see it?" And none of them said yes, but I took my pants off anyways and just ran down the street.
After drinking a bunch of margaritas?
Yeah.
Were you at a Mexican restaurant?
This never happens to Jimmy
I-
Buffett.
I was at a Thai restaurant, oddly enough. It was a strange night.
Was this in Thailand?
No, it was in Winnetka, California.
Man, it's all go on the West Coast. They ain't kidding.
I took off my short pants, went for a big run.
Letting my friends know that I am unsnipped.
Might have to revisit that.
Wasted away again in Winnetka, California.
That's what I'm saying. If we give this a little time, we could probably get a whole song out of
That is
it.
definitely not the first time somebody sung that.
I'm so happy that Devin's on this episode because I've known Devin for a really, really long time.
I was going to say the often referenced Devin Blake on this show. I feel like Pat has said comedian Devin Blake, and then proceeded with some insane story of you guys. The classic one being after Obama's inauguration, Pat was hanging out with you at the bars, I think, and saw two people.
No, he wasn't there for at the Turkey's Nest because
it was you, me, and
Duke. And Devin had disappeared.
I disappeared, and I made out with a lesbian that night. It was pretty cool.
2008, everything was possible.
Man, this guy
the
in
Obama
margaritas,
world.
he does some interesting shit. I don't know what kind of margaritas you're drinking, brother, but I want some of that shit.
Well, they did have a margarita machine at the Turkey's Nest.
That's right. Oh, dude, that is probably the most fucked up off of alcohol I've ever gotten was the Turkey's Nest when that dude was giving us absinthe.
Okay, Devin, please explain what the Turkey's Nest is. I'm not aware.
Hold on, this isn't part of the dick, is it?
It's the part in between. It's specific to foreskin.
The turkey's neck or something like that?
Yeah. The Turkey's Nest was just a bar. It was the first stop off of the L.
It was the bar that the hipsters never went to. It was like basically everybody else in the neighborhood went to the Turkey's Nest.
Okay.
It just so happened that when they had adult kickball, it was just overtaken by like early 20-something young professionals drinking Sparks. But this bar was, if you were on a budget, the greatest bar of all time.
Well, the bartender was so generous.
Yeah.
And he would just give us pitchers from time to time and shots.
The normal going rate was $3 for a 32-ounce styrofoam cup of Budweiser.
Right. That's what it was.
And then this guy, he kind of looked like Chris Elliott, and he would just give us free stuff.
Yeah.
Especially, I think you met him at a concert, and he was just like, you know what? I'm just going to give you everything that's on the shelf.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then, so I had a friend visiting, and he just started serving shots of absinthe, and I'd never had any absinthe before. And it was so, you like quasi hallucinate if you get drunk off of that. Things get like shimmery and like stretchy a little bit. I just like immediately threw up all over a subway platform and then went upstairs and threw up again and then went home and threw up in my sink. And then I went to bed and woke up and realized that it was the bathtub that I threw up in.
Done that one before.
And it wouldn't quite drain. And it was the night before I had to move out of that apartment.
Was Euler still living there?
Euler was living there, and I fucking
Wait, who's Euler?
I've been thinking about Euler. I think about him probably once a month because
Please talk. Who the fuck is Euler? I don't know this.
he was an exchange student from China,
Okay.
and he was a grad student in math. Only years later did I realize that his name was not Euler. Euler's the name of a famous mathematician. And there was one night when it seemed like it was possible we could bond and be friends. Was like the first night he was there.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about like people that we liked reading and people that we admired. And he was talking about a mathematician named Euler. And then I thought he said, "You can call me Euler." But later in the year, I had a friend visiting, and I was like out, and then he told my friend was like, called him Euler, and then he just turned to my friend and said, "Yeah, that's not my name. I don't know why Devin calls me that." But why didn't he ever say that to me?
It's too polite, man. Euler was too nice.
Yeah,
It was a long-running feud between Devin and Euler.
It was a nightmare.
Where there was what was it? He ruined your pan, or you ruined his pan.
This is my first time being living alone. Like I moved to Seattle for a year after college, but that was with friends. So then when I moved to New York, I was like alone, and I was like, I'm gonna get cookware and cooking supplies and essential furnishing, and got all that stuff. And immediately he like scalded the bottom of it and was all fucked up. And he refused to reimburse me for it, which was obnoxious. But then like he would just do insane things. Like one time I came home and I opened up the cupboard. Like one of those cupboards that nobody ever goes into, you know, like the one like above the oven or whatever.
Yeah.
And I opened that and there was the carcass of an eaten turkey, just like a full-on eaten turkey. First of all, I never even saw him make it, so I don't know where it came from. And then he had just left it in there. So at that point, I was just like, I can't. This is just untenable. I can't predict anything that this guy is going to do. And then we just kind of. So the night before I moved out, was the absinthe night.
Oh god,
throwing up in the bathtub, and I couldn't drain it, and so I just left it there.
Just left it for Euler. Party gift for Euler.
Well, that's what he gets for threatening to fist you.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was.
Is that something they do in China?
He got mad at me, and we were like yelling because when I confronted him about the pan, I was like, "Why don't I just take one of your books and just throw it out the window?" And he said, "If you do that." And he cocked his fist. If you do that, I'm going to fist you. And I was like, all right, we need to step back here.
Okay, I think this might be a miscommunication.
Yeah.
I was like, I do not care about the pan that bad. You can just back off. I was just thinking about that Euler thing. Just like, why wouldn't he tell me that he didn't want me calling him that?
When you first said it, I figured, well, he probably thinks about him every month because it's like, oh man, that poor bastard had to clean the damn bathtub after I puked.
I think that's fair. If he left you a
well, at that point, we didn't know that yet.
Yeah,
because this all started.
Yeah,
you see, with you.
That's right. I was going to say the turkey thing is funny because when I was in college, there was a house that I've described before. The house called the Funk House. Originally because it was like fun, and then by the end, it had the worst smell. Like I have a sense
It went
memory.
from fun to funk.
Right. Well, no, it was the Funk House. Like, oh, it'll be fun. Like the Funk House, right? It's fun, like James Brown or something. And then by the end, it was like, no. The smell of this house, it was indescribable. How awful it was. But for Thanksgiving, we had a Thanksgiving potluck dinner over there where the people who lived there cooked a turkey, and then everybody brought side dishes and stuff. They forgot to take the giblets out of the neck of the turkey and the plastic bag with all the guts where you make the gravy from the inside. And of course, when you do that, you're just basically leaving 2 big blocks of ice in the middle of the turkey. So no matter how thoroughly it's thawed, that part is not going to cook.
Yeah.
Right. So they cooked the turkey for the 6 hours or whatever in the oven, pulled it out. Everything looks good, but then the deeper you start carving the turkey, they realize like, oh, it's fucking raw on the inside.
That is disgusting.
So instead of just throwing it away like a normal person, they just took the turkey with the foil pan that they bought from Walmart and just placed it in the front yard. And it was there for months and months before it was finally picked apart by wild animals and taken away. But there was a legit turkey carcass just in the front yard for months, and it rotted.
It's amazing how stupid you are at age 20. We're allowed to fight in the military. And
well, no,
vote.
you have to be stupid.
And
I mean, no offense, it was in there, but you have to be stupid to get yourself in a situation where you're going to be killed. They know that.
Yeah.
That's why young people fight, because old people can't deal with that shit.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
It's a good point. But at no point did we even consider, like my dad, for instance, he's a hunter, and when he kills a deer, there's obviously a lot of leftover guts and just stuff.
You didn't know, well, it was store-bought, right?
Well, the turkey was, but
you probably figured, well, they cleaned it before they sold it, right?
Right. Well, but my point is, if I'd had any forethought, I would have been like, hey, Dad, what do you do with disgusting deer guts? And he would have told me what every man in a small town knows is you go to an apartment complex and put them in their dumpster. That's what you fucking do. What are you, dumb? So my dad has strategic apartments all over town that have... Because the thing about living in Los Angeles that I didn't know when I got here, everybody locks their goddamn dumpsters here. Not so in Auburn, Alabama. So if you have a several trash bags full of deer guts and fur...
Yeah, you just go to the Sports Authority and throw it in your dumpster.
dumpster in the bag. And
I usually get rid of TVs that way.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing that every dad knows, and I proved this on the 4th of July because I had a bunch of grease to get rid of after I fried some chicken at Kyle Clark's house, comedian Kyle Clark, and I went up to his dad and I was like, hey, where's the nearest unlocked dumpster? And he was like, oh, right behind the Ralph's on out by the interstate exit. I was like, oh, thanks. And indeed it was. So this is just a thing that most dads know. So, but that's information I couldn't have gotten unless I had.
I'd have just taken, the cashed out bird as far from the house as I could and just thrown it in the woods.
Well, that's kind of what we did. Like,
Yeah, but you put it in the front yard.
Yeah, well, that was the woods too. The woods was like the big.
No, but I mean, animals can eat it that way, but you don't want them coming up to your front yard to eat it. Go take it to them.
Well, it would have been a long walk.
You just got like possums hanging out.
In order to
your front
get to
yard
the
all
woods,
time.
we would have had to have walked across the street. And
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That never occurred to you. I figured you're probably right near the woods. The first thing I do is go over to the woods and throw it out there.
Well, in fairness, I didn't fucking live there, so it was my friends who lived there.
You grew up there and you didn't realize the woods is where you throw everything.
Yeah, or a swamp if there's a swamp nearby,
There was a
which includes televisions.
There was a retention pond nearby. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, could have taken it down there.
Make it a marine bird, like a penguin.
Oh, to live on Sugar Mountain with the barkers and the colored balloons. You can't be 20 on Sugar Mountain, though you're thinking that you're leaving there too soon. You're leaving there too soon.
Do you hunt rivers?
No,
I hunt rivers.
How old was I when I hunted old rivers?
I don't know.
He was the most dangerous game.
Yeah, well, they should remake that with rivers as the
How
prey.
old was I when I hunted down rivers?
Rivers is the most dangerous prey. Just with his banjo.
Yeah. No, to answer your question about the hunting, I was a very hyperactive child, and I was loud as fuck. So my dad took me one time, and we would sit in the tree stand, and I was just making too much noise. He was like, "This isn't gonna work." Like,
What were you talking about?
I was just like, "Oh man, did you see?" I was watching Cartoon Planet, and Brack was like, "I love beans," woo! And it's like singing Brack songs from Space Ghost Coast to Coast and shit. And my dad was just like, "I love you, but no, this is the last time we'll
deer
ever
paying you to do this
the
shit.
last time we'll ever do this." Yeah, and I was just loud as fuck and singing, and like, I'm supposed to just wait in the tree stand. It's 5:30 in the morning. The sun's not even up. It's freezing fucking cold, and I'm just like singing songs and just wide awake. And my dad was like, "Listen, the only way this works is if you're absolutely silent." And
I wonder why, but people go hunt. They do that kind of hunting with pals most often, right?
yeah.
So they're just there together in silence.
Well, the rest of the weekend is the camping trip where everybody just
The
drinks.
drinking is like
Yeah.
the fun part.
The
But
drinking is the fun part. The hunting is part of the day.
yeah, it's a lot like fishing, except
except it's different because there's a part where you have to be sober enough to use a gun.
yeah,
right.
Whereas with fishing, it don't
You
mean
can
shit.
be-
And you can be loud when you're fishing, as
Well,
well.
you're not.
Yeah.
It's, I mean,
Do you go fishing rivers, or are you too loud for that?
no. Fishing, I was just the right.
Just once.
Yeah. No, I was just the right volume for fishing.
Oh, there's a fish. I love beans.
yeah. That was a good song. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I love beans. Hey, I love beans every day. Beans are an excellent source of protein. I love beans. Dig-a-doo.
But yeah, no, that fishing, you can. I mean, for certain fish anyway, you can be loud and it's fine if you're in a small enough pond.
Do you arrange all of your activities according to how loud you are?
When I was a kid, my parents arranged all, because at the time I'm not
Well, his
planning.
parents did.
I'm not planning for anything, but my parents were absolutely thinking like, "Oh no,
We
he's
can't
too
take
wild
him
for
there.
this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a dog that isn't quite tame.
Yeah. Well, no, like for Mother's Day this year, my parents they have I think it was 3 VHS tapes of just all of our family movies, and so I got those digitized, and then for Mother's Day I made my mom a YouTube channel where I broke them up into
Oh,
small
that is
clips
sweet.
where she could just easily share them and stuff.
That is a great gift.
And it was very fun, but going back, the funniest one by far, and I will put this on our Twitter. You can find us at the Goods
Great.
Pod. Is my first soccer game where I'm not wearing the uniform. First of
this
all.
isn't naked soccer, is it?
No, I'm just not wearing every kid. I played for Tiger Time Diner. And
is that in the neighborhood of Make Believe?
Yeah, it was East Glen Avenue in Auburn. It's now the location of Mike and Ed's barbecue. We'll have to go get some peanut butter pie while we're there at Christmas time.
Oh, that is a damn good idea.
Fucking A. Tiger Time Diner, every kid on the team has an orange Tiger Time Diner shirt. And then for some reason, I'm wearing a blue shirt that is just completely unrelated. And
were you playing goal or were you?
No, I'm running around. And
so
the funniest shit is, first of all, the coaches, because we're all four, the coaches have like whistles, so they're having to like blow the whistle.
Did they dress the loudest kid in a different color?
The game? No. I think I don't know if I just missed the deadline to get a shirt. I don't know what the fuck happened because the context is totally.
So you were the last one.
Also,
which one was the last one out in line alphabetically? Langley? Did everybody else on the team's name start before L?
I don't know.
But also, there are other places to get orange shirts.
Yeah, no, I know, and I could have had an orange shirt, I guess, but for whatever reason, I'm wearing a blue shirt. And the whole video is me running around. And first of all, we'll blow the whistle to stop the game, which I don't know much about soccer, but I don't think the game ever stops.
Don't they use colored cards?
Unless somebody fouls or gets hurt.
Yeah, well, that's
they stop the game.
maybe that's why.
That's because so many foreigners play it. They all don't know the same word for stop, so you just gotta keep playing.
So I'm not fast enough to catch anybody while the game is going, and then they blow the whistle, and then I just jump on people, and that's the video is me late hitting people in fucking soccer.
So you were the goon.
I was a goon, and the video is great because you can't hear much of what's happening on the field because it's filmed from the stands. All you can hear is my parents fucking roasting me, just making fun of me and like laughing their asses off as I like jump on people and like late hit and just like I have no clue how the game goes. And my mom, you can hear her just go, like, Bob, you're going to have to show him how to play this game. Or we need to sign him up for football. Like, they're just making fun of me.
I think they just had a checklist, and they were like, hunting, no. Fishing, no. Soccer, no.
That's the story of my childhood is them signing me up for various athletics and me failing at them.
Washed out of tennis, I seem to recall.
Washed out of tennis, washed out of golf, washed out of baseball, soccer.
Did you land on anything?
No. And the whole time I was actively... I remember having tearful conversations with my mom as like a third and fourth grader and just being like,
this to me.
I don't like sports. I'm not good at it. Like, it's not fun. And she's like, well, you got to play a sport.
I remember,
Really?
I just imagine Rivers as a 5-year-old playing soccer, but the same size as he is now. Just like in a pair of Teva sandals, just
The other thing
plowing over other fighters.
well, I was so fucking like ADD too. Like, there's points where I'm just like, the game is happening, and I am just sitting down picking flowers, like Johnny Cash in Starkville, just fucking picking flowers. And then I walk up to my mom, and the game you can see actively going on behind me. Like, my team is playing, and I'm just like, hey, Mom, I got some flowers.
Oh, God.
Like,
That was a nice thing, though.
well, and then my parents are just like, I think he's like kind of dumb. Like, they really like you hear my mom actively say like, I think he's kind of dumb.
Oh, God.
He's kind of slow. Well, no, and then of course that's still the relationship my parents have.
Wait, your parents think you're dumb?
I have certain character traits that I'm just
Okay.
like, oh yeah, like this is a thing I'm dumb at, like math. You know, there's like certain just like practical things where I'm just like,
It does make
I don't
sense,
like
yeah.
this. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to.
Yeah.
think
Well,
about
that's
it.
I'm
what's
the
great
same
about
way.
being an adult, because you're never forced to do a group activity
Right. Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
bad at it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I've said on here before, I'm very unathletic. So the only thing, like, I like to talk shit, and I'm very competitive. But the only thing I can actually back it up with is bar trivia. So, so the only time I ever like actively
Shine.
agree, give into my impulse to talk a bunch of shit is if I'm playing bar trivia and I win.
How often do you play bar trivia?
Every time I'm home, and I haven't found a good place here yet, but I was accidentally in the middle of a bar trivia up at Spitz up on Virgil.
Okay.
And I got there too late to sign up because I was just there to get a falafel. But the team next to me was already playing, and so they were like didn't know anything. So I just kept leaning over and like, her name's Mary Jane Watson. Spider-Man's girlfriend's name is Mary Jane Watson. Like, I was just helping them out, and then I just disappeared into the night like a good Samaritan. I'm the Batman of bar trivia. I just show up, fucking win the game, and then leave. So,
Well, you may be a superhero in bar trivia, Rivers, but there's one other thing that you're good at too, and that's being a good person. And that pie. Remember the passion fruit lime pie? That
passion fruit
Rivers
pie,
made?
yeah.
Really good. Actually,
Passion
Rivers,
fruit pie.
There's another
Elaborate.
Rivers can barbecue and things too, and bake good
Wait a
shit.
second. This whole conversation is premised on Rivers is really, really dumb, but that's clearly not true.
Well, even the dumb have gifts. Like there was that movie Rain Man, where this moron went to a
Please
casino.
put that on my grave. Even the dumb have gifts. Oh, that's fantastic.
Doing dumb shit.
What is Winnetka? Where is that?
Winnetka is the western part of the valley.
So you grew up out here as well.
Yeah, the valley. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Speaking of boogie
But
nights.
y'all and Pat are tight from way back.
Yeah.
From New York, yeah.
Yeah, we.
Oh no, kidding! I thought y'all went to college together. Or something.
No, we went to school in New York together.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you did then.
You did go to college.
Yeah.
together.
Well,
I'm an
yeah. I mean,
expert
it was.
detective.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know that.
it was technically grad school, but I think it was very college-like in the lifestyle.
It can
Yeah.
be the same damn thing.
I was gonna say,
sometimes. I
last
wish
time
it was
I checked,
more
they-
when I was in it. But
Last time I checked, they do have grad school at college.
Well, no,
Yeah,
no,
but I
no,
mean,
no.
there's college and then
no.
there's college.
There's a
that's
distinction, right? Where it's like, in some senses, grad school is very professional, where you're trying to like get a job and do research, and it's like very straight-laced and professional and things like this. This was not. This was very.
I should have went to your
college
school.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Except we were in New York and we had the ability to like go to bars and things like that. So we were.
Okay, that's why you
Somewhat,
had
yeah.
fun going to school in New York. Because,
Yeah,
you know,
no,
I
it
went to
was-
school
it
in New
was
York
fun.
briefly, and it was some of the most boring years of my life.
Why?
I was in the Bronx, and there was nothing to do, and it was a lot of work, and I was busy with school and shit all the time, so I couldn't do anything fun, and it sucked balls.
Yeah, this was pretty lackadaisical.
Yeah, it
Just like
was.
you go to class, do a little bit of work, and then
What were you studying?
drink. Humanities and social thought.
Okay, well, give us some social thoughts.
No, so Devin is extremely smart. That's
I know
like,
that.
No, so he
I
was
just
like
need to know what that means because
so so the thing with not to put words in Devin, he was like so a lot of people bloviate in this program and would like flex their muscle. Like there was some very strong flexing going on, and Devin would like not flex, but he was like the one that was like the brightest of the group, and he would just
Well, I feel like there was a kind of cadre of like-minded people where it was like you, me, Todd, Aaron,
Yeah.
Alex.
Bueller?
you.
Oh, I thought you said Bueller.
Well, I did, but I got his name wrong. Just I can't get the wild foreign names mixed up.
No drinking with Euler. He was a teetotaler. Either that or he didn't have friends.
He got high on math.
Yeah.
he was a math head.
But what makes me so sad about Euler is, to go back to him, is like I was his impression of America. And it was a terrible impression. This is what I was thinking
Yeah, but you
about.
were his impression of China, so that goes bad both ways.
This is what I was thinking about the other day. It was some basketball championship or some big game.
Yeah.
There was like some big NBA game
Right.
that New York won, right?
The Knicks?
Probably. It was some big game.
Was this the 70s?
The Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm 85 years old. Maybe the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it was
the
some
Giants
big,
won that.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I
it
was going
was.
to say, the Knicks haven't won shit.
That's what it was. And there was
detective reasoning.
There was. I lived in this crazy apartment complex. It was student housing, but it was originally. It was in Midtown, and it was originally built for World War II vets.
It was Stuytown, right?
It was Stuytown.
Yeah.
And so there was some student housing there, and so it was like tightly packed over like a small area, and you could hear multiple apartment buildings just like screaming.
Yeah.
And
Oh, it's like here.
he
Well,
said,
because of sports.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the
Here they're
people-
just screaming because it's
Because there's so many goddamn people.
the people that were in the high rise that was nearest to where I live started firing their guns when
Right.
the Giants won.
Right. And he said, "What's going?" I said, "Oh wow, yeah, I'm not really going outside right now. I'm not into that."
Why not?
And he said, "Yeah, me neither. There are black people marching for their rights." He mistook their
He thought
celebrating
The giant-
for civil rights
Well, to be
protests.
fair, he was from a communist country, so on their news, who knows what the hell he told them.
Exactly. Well, and also
Didn't know- see, you could have helped him out by explaining. But
Oh,
he's-
I could have
he
been a
looks
much better.
outside, and then he goes to Chinese Pravda, and they're telling him that there's a race riot
That's right.
going on.
That's right. I could have done a lot. I could have been a better person to him for sure.
Don't worry, Euler. It's just Eli Manning fever.
Can you track him down?
Well, we don't even know his name.
We'll see. I'll need some more information, but I
Okay.
possibly can.
Okay.
But
I'll start right now. Euler, if you're listening, or if anybody listening knows what happened to
If
Euler,
you're listening, call the Goodnight Detective Agency.
What if he is a longtime listener of this podcast?
well, we'll find out
Weirder
soon
things
enough.
have
We
happened.
so we flushed him out already. That is intuitive detectiving
Yeah.
right there. Solving cases before anybody asked you to.
We got a couple of listeners in China. He might be out there. Yeah. Dusty. I know my buddy Dusty is in China. I know
Dusty,
there's
find
three.
him.
I know there's 3 billion people. Find a guy who's not named Euler, please.
3 billion.
Well, there's a lot of people in China, but there's probably not too many Eulers.
But that's not his name.
Yeah, but he'll respond to it because you'll just call Euler, and
Yeah.
and the guy that yells back in English, "That's not my name, you moron."
You just get
We'll know
Get
it's
my
him.
name right, or I will fist you.
Exactly.
You just get Ben
Yeah.
Stein to walk the streets of fucking Beijing going, Euler.
Yeah, but you never get him in a red
Euler.
country.
That's a fair point. Nixon's speechwriter wouldn't go near China unless Nixon was there.
But but this program was
Actually, I bet he wrote Nixon's fucking China speeches.
Because they were dull.
Yeah.
no this program though was, I think it was pretextually school in a lot of ways, where it was like you went to class, but like the amount of time devoted to school versus other pursuits.
It's like an
was
artsy-fartsy type school where they let you do what you want.
Yes.
Kind of, yeah, and
Yeah.
it was like one
Like
of those.
Steely Dan.
Yeah, and then it was the amount of time we would devote
Which college
to
was
school.
this again?
NYU.
Oh, NY. Oh.
The amount of time we would devote to
It's
school
in
was
Greenwich
very
Village, isn't it?
limited, versus other pursuits, I guess. of,
Yeah.
like just,
I mean, there were some professors I really adored. Like
yeah,
that-
same here.
What do you What it's called? Social thought. So you're just
It
reading
w-
like political philosophy. and stuff
Well,
like
it
that,
was
or-
like it was quote unquote interdisciplinary. So you had to like create your own curriculum and say these are the classes I want to take leading up to this thesis.
Okay. And what was your thesis?
It was on understanding moral diversity and the role it plays in the debate about moral relativism.
okay.
And there was a sociologist there at the time. I think he's still there.
Stephen Lukes.
Stephen Lukes, who
Brilliant.
yeah, he was great, and he had just published or was in the process of publishing a book about the history of that debate. And so basically it's just the idea of there are different moral philosophies, and if you are within one moral philosophy or one moral culture, you cannot judge
Another
the other
culture
Yeah.
based on your own.
And so
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And so then the opposing view is yes, you can.
And so you just wrote basically like a kind of an exploration of that debate.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And did not get a job in moral diversity.
What did you use for research?
Just it's that debate comes up in a lot, particularly in philosophy.
So you didn't have to go to a library and hit books or anything?
No, for sure I did, because that argument about relativism generalizes in most.
So you had to
humanities.
read all the literature about relativism?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, your thesis was more of like what they call a theory piece / literature review. But it was
Yes.
more of a theory piece,
Yes,
essentially.
exactly, yeah.
As opposed to an empirical piece.
like a case study kind of thing, or
So it was one of them artsy-fartsy type of schools, because it's NYU.
Well, you had to. The papers had to be good that you had to write.
Yeah.
I mean that took some time and some finesse, but it certainly wasn't like lab work or anything like that.
yeah.
When I wrote my thesis, I think I spent like 4 months going to the library
Right.
every day from like 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
just reading and writing and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
then from 3 p.m. to whatever time, I was like a giant piece of crap.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Just getting a full bite of the Big Apple.
Yeah. One thing that was obnoxious about NYU was that the campus is sprawled out throughout Manhattan, but the library and like some of the main buildings are right around Washington Square.
Yeah. I've been around that way.
Yeah.
We would always go to a bar called the Grassroots on St. Mark's Place.
That's right. Yeah.
And it was like the most nondescript bar ever. It had no frills, no bells and whistles. It was just there.
Smelled bad.
It smelled bad. It was the bartenders were not nice.
Yeah, they were
like
furious.
One of them looked like Joe Rogan and was just angry.
Were the bartenders the former members of the Grassroots?
No, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was named after the band is named after the bar.
When you're here, you shall la live for today.
Yeah. Midnight Vision.
When I tell all the world that I love.
Yeah, it was.
I love that song.
That bar was.
Were they these eyes? Excuse me a second. Were they?
No, that's Bach. That's the Guess Who.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, the Grassroots are sha la 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 live for today.
Oh,
yeah.
It was the most nondescript bar, and it was just like. But for some reason, we would go to it.
But it was your place.
It was
Yeah.
our place. Yeah.
Like Cheers.
Yes.
No, but not even like Cheers, because the guys that were the
Norm wasn't
bartenders, like, I don't think they wanted our business. I think that they just were like these. And then that guy Sprout got like banned from the bar.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's the bar is called the Grassroots, and there's
And they
a
banned
man,
Sprout,
there's a
yeah.
man named
Sprout.
Was he not the mascot of the Grassroots? Sprout.
Yeah.
Ian, he was in our program, but a year after us, right?
Yeah.
Is his name Sprout?
No, he got
No,
too big
that-
for the Grassroots.
I need to know everything about
That's
Sprout.
what he went by. I didn't ever catch his real
Oh.
name.
Yeah. He
Was he related to the Jolly Green Giant?
he was very weird. Like he was like a former
bet.
crust punk, I think.
Yeah.
And he would talk in mutters and murmurs.
He was also heavily medicated.
See what I mean? A school where you could do that. Was he in school?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in our
Yeah.
program.
So you can get away with a lot in
I
that
mean,
shit.
but
Because
he
if I
was-
was that stoned when I wrote papers, I wouldn't have been in school no more.
If he was a crust punk, he's probably called Sprout because after you don't move,
You start
Well,
to
they all
sprout.
have
they
names
start to
like
get moss.
they all have names like Pockets and stuff like that. But like, I don't know why he got banned from the Grassroots. I was trying to figure that out with somebody, and he was just like, it was one of those things where he was just like, I can't come in here.
Yeah. But then
And
he tried.
He tried,
Yeah.
and then the Joe Rogan looking guy was like, you can't come in here.
Yeah.
And he was like, I know. And he like left. And I was always curious as to what that was.
I could
all
solve the mystery.
about.
If any of y'all out there know why Sprouts couldn't come in the Grassroots,
Yeah.
call and let us know here at the Gets.
But it was one of those programs where there was like weird characters.
Yeah.
And then like
apparently
Sprout,
Sprout.
Civil War beard guy.
Right.
That was my nickname in my program.
Yeah. There was Civil War beard guy. There was like guys that just didn't look like they ever slept.
Who's that?
Like guys that just have bags under their eyes and stuff
See,
like
this
that.
is a Steely Dan kind of
Yeah,
steal.
it was. I think it actually really was a Steely Dan album, and you know, it was like
There was the
a weird-
Fez, of course. We had Kid Charlemagne.
Well,
we
no,
had
well, the Fez is a condom, so
We had the major dude.
yeah.
Major Dude.
We have we have Deacon Blues.
Major Dude because that was what he was majoring in. That was his.
Yeah, but there was like, it was a very strange because it was like a weird mixture of normal people, and then there was just absolute kooks.
Looney Tunes. Well, I mean, that's a lot like stand up too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
1, 2, 3, 4. Sha la 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 la, live for today. Sha la 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 la, live for today. And don't worry about tomorrow. Hey. Sha la 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 la, live for today. And don't worry about tomorrow. Hey. Sha la 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 la.
Devin moved out here, and then I moved back out. I moved out here, and Devin was living in a shed back
That's
then.
right.
Yeah.
A shed.
The dark days.
With Sprout?
No, he couldn't pass the credit check.
Okay.
To live in a shed? That's so sad.
No, there was no credit check. It was my friend had bought, my one responsible friend had already bought a house, and there was a lawnmower shed, and I said, would you mind if I live there for $250 a month? And he said, no, that's fine.
That's a good idea.
Wow. What time of year were you in the shed?
This was immediately after I moved back from New York, so I was there for like a little over a year. It was like a year and a half.
So you went through all 3 seasons.
Oh, yeah, rainy season was bad.
Didn't it flood?
It flooded, so I had to put sandbags up.
Well, fortunately, it was probably already a bunch of potting soil in there. So.
Well, no, it was concrete floor.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, the worst night was when I opened the door and there was a baby possum in there. That was
in your home?
In my home. So that really freaked me out.
Aren't they usually in pouches?
I, to this day, don't know how he got in there.
One of the little pink ones?
It wasn't that small. It was like
a small possum.
It was like the size of like a gerbil.
Oh.
And we discovered that there was a whole nest of them in the bushes. It was a nightmare.
Jesus.
Well, that is the trouble. It's the critters. When you live outside, the critters get in.
Critters do get in.
Any other weird stuff in that shed? Like, stuff happened?
Potting soil.
Yeah, it was a shed.
Well, I know that. Like, what about, like, the heat and stuff like that?
Well, he wasn't so... I had a fan, and the cold wasn't so bad because I had...
Because it's L.A.
Blankets. Yeah.
I thought that, to me, I didn't realize that you had the rain, because otherwise, to me, that sounded like a damn good idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
You never know there's going to be possums, but you got to check ahead like any real estate.
Yeah.
There was like a weird, like, industrial sink in it, too. It was like that was your...
That I peed in.
Your bathroom.
Yeah.
Did you ever throw up in it?
I did not. No, I haven't thought about that shed in a while. Shed's still there. I should go visit
Try
it.
to put the shed behind me. I'm not that guy anymore.
You should take Rachel to the shed.
I'm not shed guy.
She would not like it. She would have not approved of Shed Guy. Shed Devin would not have been
Shacktown Devin.
Shed Devin isn't married
He's
material.
not
He's not
married
husband material.
material, no way.
Yeah, but when you think about it, it's not that different than Thoreau in a way.
Shed Devin is great.
Well, no, it was just...
What's up, bitches? I'm Shed Devin. Dude, if your life had just taken another direction.
Yeah.
In a parallel
It was
universe.
really close.
Shed Devin is out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's like an urban Thoreau or a suburban Thoreau. You're just living in your little shed, maybe studying baby possums. That's what he would have done.
Yeah.
Because when he had ants, you
Yeah.
had baby possums.
I did do a lot of reading. It was nice.
Well,
Yeah.
sounds like Thoreau.
Sounds like Thoreau. What part of town was the shed in?
This was the valley. This was Reseda, which isn't far
okay.
from
I want to
Winnetka.
fly down over Reseda sometime.
Yeah, that's right.
And then moved in with my then girlfriend. That was, for many reasons, much darker and harder than the shed.
Because you're not alone like Thoreau.
That's right.
And able to focus on
You know
the
what?
mysteries of life.
That is exactly the right way to put it.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, the only problem in the shed was the critters.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
if you had a shotgun, you could have taken them out. And they're just, the thing is with them, they're just like not too smart and panicky. When a raccoon gets in, they're so damn smart, they're a pain in the ass.
Oh, my
So it's like,
God.
Mr. Raccoon, this is a challenge. You can respect a raccoon as an opponent. On a level. But a possum is something you feel bad that this damn thing exists.
Have you ever had a confrontation with a raccoon?
No, they know better than that.
Yeah, they are smart.
You can. It's true.
Besides,
though.
I know where they are at all times, and I don't have a loft near a tree because otherwise, then I would have an encounter with a raccoon.
Yeah.
I mean, they used to come by when I was camping and things sometimes, and I see them in dumpsters, but we have our space.
Yeah.
I've had encounters like that.
They
and I
understand
watch
human.
them.
They understand human weakness.
Well, they're cute and they're smart and they have a little finger like that. So
Yeah.
when they get up inside, it's a pain in the ass because they know how to get away from you. But the thing is, if you watch, they get fatter like bears over the year. If you watch them at the beginning, some of them are thinner and they have the little baby raccoons with them, and that's kind of cute. I have to admit.
Yeah.
There was a raccoons that had knocked over my friend's trash cans, and I went outside. My friend had a gun, and I went outside with the gun and was like, guys, get out of here. And they just like stood up.
Like it was the Normandy invasion.
And I like
go!
Yeah, and they like stood up and they just like looked at me and they could read in my face. It's like, dude, you've never fired a gun before. You don't know what to do with that thing.
You ain't gonna do shit.
Yeah, and I didn't, and they continued eating the garbage.
Wow.
You didn't just make a bang? Because
no.
if y'all don't want to shoot a critter, a bang is just, remember the crow gun, Rivers?
Yeah, that's what that was for, yeah.
Yeah, it just makes a bang and scares them off with it. But
Did you think that they were going to recognize the firearm?
Well, no, I maybe.
smart
I was,
critters
like,
know
yelling.
when a man stands, that might be a gun. The lions know that nowadays.
Yeah.
They know what?
If they see a man stand up, then they know what. This is why crocodile hunter get so close. This is all information I got from him. But when you crouch down like he did, the lions would come closer. But when they'd see him stand like this, that's when the lions would say, "We're getting out of here," because they know now when they see two legs like that, that means man have a gun. It's like the Jungle Book.
This is where?
Africa. the lions live in Africa. If they see a man,
They just know now.
well, they know not to get. They see two legs. From the two legs, no good. They think because it's a man with a gun. So animals can recognize that man has the firepower.
the killer ape.
Exactly.
They know the killer ape.
Just like again the Omega Man.
Yeah.
If you fire at them, that's all you need to do.
Do you have any firearms?
Oh, lots.
Yeah, you seem like a guy.
But I don't have any right now with me because I live in like a city and I wouldn't even. The houses are so thin around here, I wouldn't even bother. I didn't bother with a crossbow because it'd go through the wall.
Bother with the wall.
So where are all your guns?
At an undisclosed location
Okay.
where my mother and aunt live. If they listen high, but I tell them not to because sometimes they say swears.
Yeah, they don't like the swears.
But if we do a Miss Marple episode, then they will tune in. Maybe.
I'm gonna detect you.
Okay.
I'm gonna detect you while you're detecting you.
All right. I like this. A challenge.
Two birds with one stone.
I will get you some info. Don't worry. If anybody here knows any inside information about Mr. Goodnight, send it to me personally because if you know inside information, then you'll know my emails and things. I'll have some info for you
Yeah.
about me coming pretty soon.
I hope so.
That seems ominous.
But if you want to just make a bang, if you want gun just makes a bang, I recommend black powder firearms. It's real easy to just make a bang with them.
What are those? What's a black powder?
Like a
firearm?
musket, like a muzzle loader.
Yeah, I know muskets.
Yeah, like Civil War, Revolutionary War.
Yeah, but they're still, they make modern ones. Because you can
Your
hunt with
solution
these
to
things.
our raccoon problem is a musket.
Well, it depends. It depends on how close they get. If you just want to defend your territory against the encroachments of critters and not shoot at them,
If you just want to
Now
protect
I'm
the shed.
sure you know the answer to this question. How much is a musket?
I don't know these days because it's been a long time since I bought one of those things. It's been a long time since my reenactment days. So I couldn't tell you what a musket goes for these days. But here's what I would recommend as a cool critter popper. Get you a nice little...
Wait, start over. There's got to be like intro music for that.
Now, here's a good little critter pop. If you're like me and you don't want to hurt anything, but you want to look badass doing it, and you find that you have little critters outside your house, and you live in a proper area in America, which means you can actually fire things off and without legal impunity.
Waverly, we're talking to you.
Yeah, Waverly. This is a great. Waverly is top of this. Get you one of them black powder revolvers, like Wyatt Earp and them guys, and Bill Hickok.
A dragoon.
No, not. You don't have to make as big a noise as a dragoon. A child can use a Colt 1862 pocket police model. Pull out a little pistol so you'll look like Bill Hickok's reserve gun at the gambling table. You do some critters outside. You say, "I got to take care of this." You go outside. You pull out. You pop off a couple of rounds of this. And then you just walk back inside and say, "Possums is gone." You turn the sound up and you keep watching Riptide or whatever the hell you're doing. I recommend it. I feel like I'm in an intermission at a hockey game.
Oh, man.
Or that felt like one of those. You know how talk show hosts used to do live commercials?
Yeah.
That felt like that.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, like
You guys should start doing that.
we did
but it's
that a
all for
couple of
things that
times.
kill raccoons.
Well, you and Devin Blake had some crazy times, man.
Indeed, we did. We New York is a big town, and we did it huge.
Yeah, you
New
take
York sized.
bite of the big apples, you might
Yeah.
say, but don't mind the maggots.
A real Brooklyn style good time.
It's you, Devin Blake, and Jay-Z.
Yes, indeed, and pizza. But anyway, I guess it's my
Speaking
turn.
of the GOAT, we're talking the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame right now.
Indeed.
And it's Pat's turn to put somebody in.
Here comes Haku.
I know, right. At some point, we'll have like a little 30-second Hall of Fame song that's specially made. Find us at the Goods in the Woods dot
Yeah, somebody
party.
do that. Yeah.
On Twitter at
He says in a room filled with guitars, someone else do all the work.
Yeah, at
Make us
NASA,
a Hall of Fame.
NASA Gov. Yeah. So my Hall of Fame, and I kind of agonized over this because I was thinking about various people, as I tend to do.
Yeah.
That could be in, and I always want to like figure out who fits at particular times and kind of even it out of like the serious and the kooky, the serious, the kooky, And I'm going kooky, guys, and I'm
Okay.
actually throwing it back to an episode that came out, I would think 3 years ago, a couple weeks ago, actually. The one where we expected George Jones to show up, but of course.
No Show Jones, episode 5.
Yeah, where
Went way back.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow. That's a good app.
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was. And spoiler alert: No Show Jones. George Jones did not show up.
Turns
because
out he'd been dead for 2 years.
he was deceased.
Yeah.
But
We didn't know that at the time.
I had talked at great length about a great figure in advertising, a great figure in capitalism, a great figure in small business, and indeed a great figure from where I went to high school, the town I went to high school in. His real name, I believe, is Brian Power, but he is better known by his nom de plume, the Family Man. The Family Man, because it is the Family Man, the man who is the great entrepreneur that is behind Family Auto Mart on 1918 Aurora Road. It's Unbelievable Dave. We are playing, so in the background we are playing, because see, what he's known for is his commercials. He would have these infomercials that would show.
Find us on Twitter at The Goods Pod. We'll link this because this is really in the pantheon of like insane local commercials. This is one of the most batshit
This
things.
is awesome.
I love this so much.
So he has a kooky crew of individuals like his brother, the Family Boy, Rockin' Reggie, Cha Cha Ronaldo, Unbelievable Dave Bochna, Terminator Chris.
Cha Ronaldo.
Yeah.
awesome
Terminator
name.
Chris and Pretty Boy Chris, because all the girls want to give him a kiss. But he would just. This guy had about $100 to spend on computer animation, and he had the worst cartwheel, and he would just show it off. He would just do cartwheels all the time. And he would just be like, if you want a deal that's great, call 2420328 Family Auto Mart. I'll see you here.
God damn.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, let's crank the volume of this so we can just.
Family Auto Mart is essentially if it's a Tim and Eric show sketch.
Cartwheel. Oh man, it's all
I mean,
cartwheels.
this is like coconut bras, props.
Whoa, that was a protracted and?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He was
Like-
going, we're wheeling and.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, he's a large man.
But he can cartwheel with the best of them.
Okay, wait.
I'm your man. We got boo-coo, boo-coo, boo-coo minivans. Boo-coo, boo-coo minivans. All over the place.
What?
The Family Man will finance you.
Oh,
Pick up the
wow.
phone and call the Family
That
Man.
shit.
This is. They would play this.
I want
wait,
him to
he's
finance
wait,
me.
I know. I want a piece.
Wait, he's
I want a
talking
piece of the family,
Wait,
man.
wait.
now.
He's playing.
Is he still around?
Yes.
Can we get him to cut us a promo?
I hope so.
Can we get him on the show?
Like, if we called him and was like,
I mean, bad computer. Like,
everything.
He has
is-
a lot of sports themed bad.
Everything about this is amazing.
It's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
God, this
guy,
is so great.
This guy is like a hyperactive 10-year-old.
Yeah.
With a green screen.
And
with
he's
a
and shaped like Chris Christie.
Yeah. Oh.
You want this car? You can get it at Family Auto Mart. Family Auto Mart. You'll be
Whenever he says Family Auto Mart, he accentuates.
You'll save a bunch.
I mean, but here's the thing that's crazy, right?
Oh, fuck.
No. So here's. Yeah, this thing's crazy because he just like it. But this is the point in which he like bought his cult figure, so it became more self-referential and more out of control with the cuts and the green screen stuff. Because he was just like a guy that would just be there.
Oh yeah,
like
this has all the makings of like a thing that started off kind of halfway normal. And
And then it got way over
it was
the top.
never serious. That's the thing. Like it was never.
But he used to just yell with his friends, right? And then it became special effects and everything.
And then he
movie
expanded
parody.
throughout Central Florida. That's the thing, right? So this is a later one.
Well, I can tell it's later because that is a '98 Pontiac Bonneville behind him.
Yeah.
My friend used to have that exact car.
So-
Did he get it from him?
Nerm Sturgis, actually, that was his car.
So yeah, but the thing is that he
Special effects
expanded
on that.
throughout Central Florida. Like this became a thing based on these because like
I bet.
his car like it was a used car lot. I mean, it was a straight up used car lot,
Yeah.
right? It was your conventional used car lot. But these ads made him just like a cultural reference.
I bet.
It became something that was completely.
This guy is awesome.
I mean, this guy there's no boundaries to the insanity of Family Auto Mart. I mean, it is something.
He does his own Bud Bowl.
Yeah, it's basically it's like if Bud Bowl was a man.
Oh.
Ford Nissan pickup. It's a pretty little hard body.
Just like me. I can remember all these ones.
He looks like me. He brings me joy. He's my
Brother, the family boy.
I mean,
See,
wow.
I see. It really went downhill when the Family Boy came into the mix.
Well, it's like when they added Oliver to the Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
As soon as you
yeah.
bring
I mean,
in-
I'm a
So he
purist.
jumped the shark when the Family Boy came in.
I'm a purist because I think this is when Family Man like they started selling T-shirts and swag and stuff like that.
That's when he passed. He jumped the shark.
but
at that point.
I think that honestly, when it was just him, Cha Cha Ronaldo, Rockin' Reggie, Terminator Dave, and Darlene, who was never seen, but everybody was afraid of her. I mean, these are like references that if you
Cletus and Poot.
Cletus and Poot.
Yeah, that's one. Every.
Yeah. I mean, but these are references that if you grew up in the Central Florida area, particularly if you grew up in Brevard County and you stayed up past a certain point, like, because these things would just run for an hour at night, late at night.
I bet there's like a whole generation of people in Florida.
Quote it.
Well, not just that, but people who maybe fell asleep to this.
Yeah.
And they have some sort of like rotten part of their brain because this.
Well, no, we have a lot of that in the Hall of Fame because that's essentially what Don West was.
That's true.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I can quote large portions of just his rhymes.
Yeah.
It's just like the thing where it's like,
Well, they're awesome. They get stuck in your
94
head.
Geo Metro, habla español, amigo. All these great, like, wacky local commercials that get shared through YouTube. Like, it's possible to have a global distribution chain for the most wacky, esoteric, insane, local advertising that you could possibly think of. It's like you have it there, and I've seen tons of them. Rivers had showed me some.
Yeah.
There's ones that are just completely over the top. But I will have to say, dollars to donuts, there is not a single
Can't touch Brian Power.
single commercial that proliferated amongst the local area as strongly and became the basis for a person's like expansion of their bit. This was like it was commercials alone that put this guy to the center of selling 10-year-old plus age cars.
When
right?
you have commercials like this, you don't need good cars.
I mean, there's tons of used car lots out there. There's tons of used car lots in Central Florida because, you know, the economy is the way it is there. But, Family Auto Mart set it themselves above Car Cabana, Kablowie Motors, all the ones out there.
All the elite ones.
And if you go to YouTube and all the great sort of local commercials, ain't nobody touching Brian Power.
Although I will say, if you have some, if you're listening out there, and there's somebody in your area that we might not be aware of, because I'll say where I'm from, my all-star, and I mentioned him on that same episode, is Chip Ellis, who was a car dealer as well, whose famous slogan was where he would just scream into the camera, it just seemingly like he was like an angry football coach, just being like, "Hi, I'm Chip Ellis, and I was born in Lowndes County, Alabama, and my mama didn't raise me with no silver spoon in my mouth. And if you will come in here and need credit, I will extend credit to anybody because I am the bank."
Yeah.
And that was his
Selling-
catchphrase.
Oh, the guy that's the bank.
Yeah,
I am
selling
the
trucks
bank.
like Reese cups.
Yeah, well, that was Mike Patton. Yeah, selling cars like candy bars, selling trucks like Reese cups.
But hey,
But that said, if you're listening out there somewhere and there's somebody we don't know about, for the love of God, tweet us at it because we love this.
yeah,
type of
but
stuff.
these guys are all bombast.
But for our
Brian Power, Family Man, computer green screen technology, coconut bras.
Tim and Eric eat your fucking hearts out.
Tim and Eric
stole their gimmick, frankly.
Yeah.
He's kind of like looking at.
But with him, it's not a gimmick.
Right,
With the Family Man, it's as like Emerson put it, it's the unself-conscious expression of who the Family Man is.
Yeah,
and that's wheeling and dealing. Because if you want a deal that's great, call 2420328 Family Auto Mart. I'll see you here. And that here is the Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, baby. Let's hear it for the Family Man.
Yeah. We love you, Rockin' Reggie. We love you,
Chris.
Yeah. Cha-Cha Rinaldo.
Rinaldo, it came from
Credit
him.
to all of you. Darlene.
Poot,
Cletus. To a lesser extent, the Family Boy. It's all about you. Because you got a because the Family Man's got a family, and that family is Central Florida. Goods from the Woods Hall of Fame.
We're all a member of his family tonight. I think I have every BC paperback that they ever made.
Are you?
I have a lot of Family Circus, too.
Would you qualify yourself as a hoarder?
No. I just have an impressive library.
Okay.
I'm not a hoarder.
That's exactly what hoarders say, though.
No, because I
just love newspapers.
I jettison things. Everything I have, I use at one point.
Okay.
And if I can't use it, if I have to move, I jettison it.
You have no problem getting rid of stuff.
I throw it away as long as it's not too sentimental. Because I you know what they say? 5 moves is the equivalent of a fire or something like that. And I've moved around enough that like I'm not that sentimentally attached to everything. Because I've lost all the things that I wanted the most in this world. So I live without any care or
What are we
concern.
talking about? What? Like what?
Well, I mean, like people that and they're all dead, and all your dearest possessions, and the world that you grew up in, and the good old days when shit didn't cost as much, and you had
So you're not-
WCW on.
So you're not a hoarder, but you sound incredibly depressed.
WCW.
Wait, no, seriously, man. There was a time when you could go on the Superstation at night. And you had Sanford and Son rerun and then WCW right after that.
What's WCW?
Wrestling.
World Championship Wrestling. Oh, God, that's...
So a world without WCW is not the same. And so it's not a world for me.
You're familiar with loss.
Yeah. All about disappointment. This is going to all about disappointment and loss.
Yeah.
But like any caravan that moves on, like Napoleon getting away from Moscow, you just leave that shit behind to be killed by Cossacks, and survivors move on. You understand? So I'm not too sentimental about things, but I have a lot of things.
But you are particular about things.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
Well, you learned a lot at NYU. They've done a good job, man. Well, y'all guys I should have went to y'all's school because y'all had a better time.
You would have thrived.
I would have. What an idiot I was studying the Civil War and Reconstruction when I could have studied something I could have just made up.
No, you could have made something up around that too.
I should have made something.
Yeah,
But there's all these facts that they expect from history, and that's one of its limitations as a genre.
But it seems like you have quite the mind for obscure facts.
Yeah, I know, but it's a dull life. I live a life of adventure. You understand?
I see.
And being a bookworm, which I did for many years, I learned a lot of things. But it didn't
Now
provide
the
me with
time for learning is over.
Yeah, you're like Indiana Jones. Like you can only do so much in that classroom.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
but-
no, I always learn. You understand?
You got to get action. You got to
But I
get in
need
the
to get
arena,
action.
as TR said.
Exactly. That was my training. Now I am in combat with the forces of the world every day.
Yeah, you would have thrived with us. Good night.
Yeah.
I know. I wish I went there, man. We would have had a good old time.
But now we've all found each other.
Hold on now. Pat, you're done now, but have you got a PhD?
No.
Me neither. You want to go back?
Sometimes I think
Pat
about
could be
it,
our
but
teacher.
he could be our teacher.
Yeah.
Oh snap!
that
Pat,
would be
give us all doctorates. Just
that
pass
would
us.
be that would be really ridiculous.
It'd be really ridiculous, but it'd be a good old time.
Oh,
man.
It
yeah.
would be a blast.
I do feel I'm still in the phase in which anybody calls me professor or doctor, I think they're being sarcastic.
Oh wow!
It's like a very sort of jarring thing.
Do you get in there and say, "Call me Pat"?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sit on the desk and I fluff my wallet up.
Cowboy
and,
boots.
Yeah. Kick up my cowboy boots, keep my leather jacket on, and I'm just like, yo, call me Pat. These things are called books. They give you a hernia. They don't give you knowledge. Throw them away.
So you're like that cool dean on The Simpsons.
Yeah, exactly.
You only sit in chairs backwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Say, all right, kids, let's
Well,
wrap.
no, when something's very serious, that's the only way you deliver it is by turning the chair around
Yeah.
and leaning over and being like, listen, I got something to say about drinking milk or drugs or
crack cocaine.
crack cocaine and why you shouldn't do
It's like,
it.
all right, kids, let's rap about B.F. Skinner a little bit. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
Let's wrap up. I got something to say about pigeons. He wrote a book, by the way, called Walden 2. I am not making this up. And
Thoreau did?
Yeah.
Walden
no,
2?
not Thoreau. B.F. Skinner.
That's right, and
It was a sequel, but it was
very-
science fiction.
But it was very poorly received.
Yeah, it was like about a commune called Walden 2.
It was
So it was just a crummy
It was
book
spurious.
masquerading as a sequel to a classic.
I was hoping Thoreau wrote like Walden 2 Back to the Lake House or something.
Yeah.
This time it's personal.
I wonder what
You and me, nature.
I wonder
We're
what
gonna do this again.
I wonder what a commercial for that movie would sound like.
In a world where James K. Polk was the president, one man refused to pay taxes to support the Mexican War. Thoreau is back. Walden 2. This time it's personal. Out of the woods and into your face. In theaters, July 1852.
Yeah, see, you could have just done shit like that for your thesis. And you would've-
I knew I was an idiot by getting into that liberal arts moron. And I can draw too. And the dumbest thing I ever did was not just saying, I'm going to go to art school and just draw naked girls and drink for years and things. Instead, I'm sitting there learning about Hannibal and all this stupid shit.
Oh man, my caricature that you did of me is one of my favorite things I have.
Oh, well, I remembered that recently because I must have been so stoned because normally I don't send people. I don't want to look.
Is your mom all right with that drug use?
She doesn't listen.
Okay.
She don't mind if I drink though. Holy shit, we give each other Sambuca for Chris. She introduced Sambuca into the undisclosed area.
Do you drink it with or without coffee?
Well, we have to have it
And
with coffee. Without
yeah.
what's the point?
Okay.
But that was the thing. She introduced. They started giving it around Christmas time, and she got everybody up into that thing. Because they do that Secret Santa horse shit. And things. And, but what was I saying? Oh, the caricature. I thought you were getting the caricature out. Do you still have it?
I was gonna try to. Yeah, I'll find it.
Oh, okay. Well, I drew a caricature of Rivers once, and
You could
was stoned enough to send it to him without worrying if it hurt his feelings or not.
No, it was great.
You could have been in the fold with us, and you could have eaten dollar pizza and
Oh my God! Instead of those bureks, I would eat.
Yeah,
Remember the
drinking-
Albanian meat pies?
and
Did you have them?
drinking copious amounts of beer that's but paid for with other people's student loan money.
Yeah.
In your studies, has there been a situation that's presented itself where what you studied has actually been really like beneficial to you, whether it's comedy or
I think it definitely helps in like conversations about philosophical / political things, just in the way in which you hear other people out and kind of absorb and metabolize what they say. So just like in everyday life, in that sense, it did help. I don't know. Seinfeld has this. Somebody asked him what he studied in college, and I think it was communications or something like that.
Yeah.
And he said he would have, if he had to do it again, he would have gone back and done philosophy, because philosophy is about like kind of like challenging your mind and kind of
it's
like
about analyzing one thing from every possible
that's
angle.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Which is the
So
same as
I
comedy.
mean, that probably kind of in the background is kind of the same skill.
Yeah.
But certainly, I don't know. In my job, you know, there's like fair amount of reading and thinking that is involved. So you know, it was.
What is your
relevant?
What is your line of work now?
I am a resources coordinator for homeless services in Hollywood.
Oh wow, no shit.
So a lot of that is just kind of like reading and talking to people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
But you didn't have any take homes from Dr. Comedy.
Oh my god, that fucking lunatic.
Okay, what the fuck is Dr. Comedy?
There was this guy. So there was.
Real quick, I'm just imagining he definitely has a spinning bow tie, right?
I wish he had that. So NYU has this like really renowned performing arts program, and so because my program was you got to pick your courses from different departments, I wanted to study comedy in whatever fashion I could.
Yeah.
So I did like an independent study with this guy who had an Emmy for comedy writing. It turns out it was a daytime Emmy for the Joan Rivers show.
The most successful TV show of all time.
And he was just truly the unfunniest person I've ever met. Just like, it was so bizarre, and he was such a sad...
Was this class a bringer?
And he was...
You don't have enough of a following. Sorry, I'm giving you a C.
He was such a sad figure. Like, his dad was a really famous architecture teacher at Columbia, like world renowned. And
his dad was Frank Lloyd Wright.
His dad...
Did his dad teach Art Garfunkel? Because didn't he...
Quite possibly.
He did study architecture.
Quite
that's
possibly.
Right.
And the dad had this child late, and so was like absent in a lot of ways, and just like was so sad, and like was like a hypochondriac. I really feel like he went to the doctor all the time because it was the only time somebody had to listen to him.
Yeah.
It was so sad. And he was not funny.
There was
you guys
some
called him Dr. Comedy.
He didn't. Was that our nickname, or did he give himself that?
No,
name?
it was. I think we gave him that nickname, and he had some real sage advice for your writing, where you were talking about how you were a triplet, and he was just like, "No, what you should say is, hi, I'm a triplet. Hi, I'm a triplet. Hi, I'm a triplet."
God.
You see that? You see that? We'll get to that later.
Yes, all shit like that.
We'll get to that later.
Every time he said a shitty joke, he said, "Do you see what I did? We'll get to that later."
The fuck does that mean?
Nothing,
Context.
and he never got back
Of
to
course
it.
not.
Somebody could have maybe pulled that one off if they delivered it right.
There was the one about the like organic app. He had like a.
Oh yeah, he got an organic apple, but he was gonna sue them because he ate the sticker or something stupid like that. I mean, it was just like gut wrenching.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
Yeah, and it's just like the sticker isn't organic. See what I did there?
Yeah,
We'll talk
We'll get
about
to
it
that- we'll
later.
get to that later.
Exactly.
See what I did there? We'll get to that later.
I'm glad he pointed that out because I didn't get it before
Yeah.
he did that part.
And then he would just Devin would just fume.
Oh, yeah, it was insane because the reason I went to grad school or even applied to grad school is because I wanted to do stand. I grew up in the Valley. I wanted to do stand up really bad, but was like just incredibly anxious and neurotic, like cripplingly so.
Yeah.
So I kept on feeding myself this idea. Well, I shouldn't start in LA. I should, once I graduate college, I'll move to a smaller town and do stand up there.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I moved to Seattle. And then did it a few times, and then the first time I bombed, I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And then, so like in just like a really kind of panicked, desperate like the next 6 months of my life, I was like, what am I going to do? And so I just applied to grad school and got in there, but was still like nursing this idea of like, well, I definitely still want to do comedy.
Yeah.
And then saw him as like maybe an entree because he had like helped somebody sell like a spec script to Frasier or something. So just whatever. It was just like me totally grasping at straws at this, and then realizing that he was a lunatic. It was really also a dark time.
Here I am, again in the city, with a fistful of dollars. And baby, you better believe I'm back in the New York groove. I'm back in the New York groove. I'm back in the New York groove.
Devin, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
I just put up a website. It's pretty janky, and I've gotten a lot of criticism for how it looks. It's in a
From who?
It's in my roommates. It's in the beta stage, so I don't even know. Should I say it? No, why not say it?
Does it have those little things on it that say under construction?
No,
It's like
it's just like a really.
Does it have MIDI in the background?
It's just like a really insane picture in the background that like obscures everything. I mean, it looks crazy.
www.geocities.com/ca2/
Angelfire.com/Devin Blake.
Devin
D-Dog Blazake.
DevinBlakeIsCool.com.
Okay.
So send me some criticisms about how it looks or any ideas about. It's still, like I said, under construction.
What's your Twitter?
At Devin J. Blake.
All right. So
With Devin with an I.
tweet at him.
Tweet at me. Try and get me active on there again. I have a really poor web presence.
But you can see him doing stand up all around
There
Los
we go.
Angeles.
Yeah,
There we go.
Devin has a fantastic show over at Cafecito Organico.
Oh
with,
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Backyard
Simon.
bootlegs.
With next door neighbor
Simon.
and at some point guest on the fucking show when our schedules line up, Simon Gibson.
Last Saturday of every month.
Yeah.
Cafecito Organico.
And that's right up the street from Disgraceland. Here
That's
in
right.
East Hollywood.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Come check it out.
Yeah, we can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegoods-pod. We're on Twitter and Spotify at The Goods Pod. And thanks to our webmaster, Richard Eden. And Pat, what should they do when the folks get to iTunes?
Ladies and gentlemen, you should rate, review, and subscribe. Tell a friend because it shows the attitude of gratitude.
And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, fuck you.
Song of the week this week. This is the Black Diamond Heavies with Everything is Everything. And we'll see you next week.
Help me, I've been looking like one-legged duck.
Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.